Yes, sir, it is what it is. You already know it's Tito himself, and I'm back again with another episode of the Uninterrupted Podcast. It's lit, it's fire. Always the second episode of the week. Dropped the first one on Monday. The second one is here today. And I'm back again to speed a couple of things and put up my pace. Let's get it. First off, I want to put up a shout out to my good friend and my very able colleague. He's called Eddie. So the other day, I met Eddie. First of all, I met Eddie through a mutual friend. And I asked if Eddie would invite me on an episode because I was trying to fix my appearances, like trying to build my rapport with these other guys who are doing online content and every other thing. So I wanted to link with Eddie. And then she linked me up with Eddie. At that time, Eddie was not doing episodes. He had taken a break from recording and filming. So he gave me a long time. Like, he told me to wait for about a month. So I had to wait for about a month for him to call me on an episode. And this guy challenged me in a very funny way. So he asked me, "You want to come to my show? So what do you want to talk about?" So I told him. The first thing that came to my mind was consent. And I feel like it's something that has been really manipulated in every other way that favors whoever brings the idea of consent. This is in all perspectives that you can think about: relationship, friendship, and every other thing that you relate with that really needs consent. So I asked Eddie, we can talk about this and split a little bit about this. So we meet, it's me, Eddie, and a couple of his other friends. And we had a quite good discussion that we had. It was lengthy. It was really, really, really good. We got to split a couple of things. We got to agree on some other things. It was all good. And the episode is finally out. It's on his YouTube page, and I'm looking for it. Maybe I was to ask him if I can post it on my page. I don't know. I give credits, but I gotta put my logo at the end or maybe something. But I'll ask him if I can put up the episode on my page, because I feel like it was quite a good one, quite an appearance. I had responses from guys who've already watched, and apparently guys like it. It was another step of me doing my content and every other thing that I've been looking forward to do. It's a good thing. It's a growing entity, I can say, for the online community, especially over here in Alert. We're pushing. Like recently, I even saw the etown show is back. So this show came up. It's one of those shows that are supposed to give trends and everything. The shows like Straight Up, the shows like, what you call this other show? These shows that Teen Republic, such kind of shows. So it's one of those, and it's a good thing because the other day I was talking about growing the showbiz Alert. And guys thought that I was joking about it. It's not a joke. We have quite a good platform to build a showbiz on. We have a good number of celebrities, so to speak, over here who can trend on that showbiz, who can make headlines and everything. We always have headlines going on. And it doesn't just have to be about these people that we know. It can be about random things that are going on. Because a lot of things are going on in this town. It's just that it doesn't get out there. There are some of the things that I would like to talk about on my pod, but I don't talk about them because I don't feel like they match the criteria of my content. And I just recently thought of a new entity that I wanted to do. I wanted to do reactions on videos and reactions on photographs that are taken in clubs, outfits especially. I've been out for quite a while. I've been out for a minute, and I've seen people come to clubs dressed so well. Some other guys dress pathetically. Some other guys just don't know what they're doing. And if you think about it, if we would review what people are doing, it would make people step up their outfits game. Like, it would take us to another. I know women come out and they dress, but men don't really dress like that. I wouldn't be reviewing men as much, but I would be reviewing ladies, because I feel like they take more pride in what they put on than men do. So the thing was, let me get back to the etown show. The etown show is a big thing that should take another step. It's such a big show. Because I think they did the most recent episode the other day, and they talked about a couple of things. I haven't watched the whole show though. I've watched a couple of snippets, kidogo kidogo, and I was able to review because it's important for us to know what's going on. It's important for me personally to understand what kind of content these guys are doing. It's important for me to get the perspective that these guys are operating on. And whatever they were speaking about sounded like something important, sounded like something that needs to be discussed, sounded like it was, to be more specific, I would say it was interesting for me. You know, somebody's just about to call me, I've seen a message, and I'm not going to pick that call whatsoever. Best believe, whatsoever. So, on the etown show, they spoke about the Go Pato, everybody telling me to go Pato. So this show was over the weekend on 1st of July. And it was hyped from the moment it was brought up. Everybody was psyched for this show. Everybody was really anticipating to see this guy. So the problem is one. See, I got to find out when this guy came over, there were losers and there were winners. The first winner was RK Radio. RK managed to bag this guy for an interview at his radio station, which I feel like was a win for him. I mean, he's one of them ones who got a chance to interview this guy at his radio station. What a dub. What a dub. If you get. So he's the first winner, I could guess. And the first loser, I would only talk about the first winner and the first loser. First loser was the event organizer. Because I hear this show flopped like a motherfucker. Flopped like a motherfucker. I wasn't there, so I really don't know how it flopped or what they mean by it flopped. I would really want to find out because a lot of guys posted about the show. I saw a lot of videos, saw a lot of posts. Ibra, first of all, I want Ibra in here explaining what happened because I think he's the first pioneer of that show. He's the first person who told me about that show. King Genie, Ibra, I need you here to tell me about what happened at Go Pato. Is Pato still going? I don't know. So the show flopped. I hear some guys were not paid. Bouncers were not paid. And guys thought that this show was organized by Pato himself. So they decided to take his instruments as leverage for them not being paid so that they could make sure that they get paid. You get? Hapo ndo shida ya kwanza kabisa ilitoke. That is the worst mistake. So one thing I've always said about events, I talked about Shin City the other time. Shin City was fire, amazing, well organized. That thing was good, was next level. My mic is just about to misbehave. Let me just fix it. So Shin City was fire. Shin City was well organized. Shin City was in line. You know, if you know what I mean. Everything about the show was so chronological because from security to setup to the audience sitting to everything to the show, everything was so chronological and made the show so successful. Then came Afrofest. Afrofest came, but I felt like they let us down a little bit. But the show was fire. They brought us some good artists and some good things. I mean, the show was fire, if you know what I mean. But then they just needed to get a bigger tent because it was freezing. It was fucking cold that time. I feel like these guys who are looking at this entertainment field need to really consult with these other guys who've been doing it for a minute. They need to talk to guys like Jeff Movers. They need to talk to guys like Nebo. They need to talk to these big shot guys who've MC Nick, who's been organizing. MC Nick is like the head funch of Kitenge Fest. And he's been doing good over the years. I think this was the 5th or 6th or maybe something season of Kitenge Festival this year. It was good. Though I left early because I don't know why. And then these guys who organize events really need to consult each other, because I think it's something that people are doing with kiburi, because they don't really want to consult. They feel like they can just do it. It's the same way when I started my stuff. I was not really informed about how this thing is done. I started getting equipments, and then funny thing that happened is that I got equipments differently, and then time nikazi bring together, these things could not work together. So I had to get rid of a lot of things. I had to get rid of the big stereo mic. I had to get rid of the sound card. It's still here. It's not even working as good as I want, because it's not just working. You know what I mean? So guys really need to consult each other. Guys need to talk. Guys need to, if you get what I mean. Yeah, so the show was a failed thing. They need to tell us what happened. They need to tell us who didn't get paid, who was supposed to pay, and why they didn't pay. That's all I need to know. What else? I don't know if police were involved, because I know police were so much involved yesterday in the demonstration. Maandamano ilikuwa noma. Because niliona watu walishikwa tear gas. It's always the same. The script is always the same. Lazima kuna tear gas, lazima kuna nini. And one thing I saw about yesterday's demo is that guys are so daring. Guys are so daring to go out in the streets and demonstrate. Yesterday I saw a lot of guys getting arrested, and they're still chanting, especially women. Bro, it's my first time seeing women get arrested in a demonstration. I wasn't expecting that. But niliona nika wase wanakuja na a different vibe, because guys were daring in a way that, as much as other guys are being arrested by police, they are still chanting on the side. They are still taunting the cops to arrest even more. And it felt like there's a different kind of energy that guys have right now that is making them feel like they cannot hold back anymore. You see, that kind of radicalization is what is really taking people to another level. And as much as we know, demonstration always goes, and they come back every time. Funny thing that I heard yesterday was some guy was telling a police, so nyi mnatushika na pia nyi mnateseka, si ati amteseki. So these cops are just doing their job, but at the same time, they are still big victims, the same way these guys who are demonstrating, because they are still being taxed. I don't know if police are being taxed as these other people. The economy is hard on everyone. It's hard on everyone. I know these cops, because yesterday there was also another video circulating of a cop who said he's quitting policing because maisha imemshinda. Anasema mimi kitu nilileta hapa ni shida, mimi nimechoka kuteseka, afadhali ni mnipige risasi. That's what this guy said. For you to know that both sides of the fence, it's bad. It's just as this fence is making us think different. The police are on the other side. They need to be on the government side. As much as they are, like, I don't know how to put it. Awase wako hii side ingine. They know this side is not easy, because in the morning, we have to stop protesters. But in the evening, we have to deal with what they are also dealing with. High cost of living. This tax bullshit. And every other thing that is going on. I don't know. And I felt like they were using too much force. You know, police in Kenya are known to use too much force. Yesterday when I was coming home, there are these old cops. Wanavaaga vibaya. They're just dressed in casual, but wamevaa vibaya. You cannot even tell if this guy is a cop or not. So, you know, these guys are bullies. Okay? Speaking of which, I wanted to talk about bullies. let me finish this first. So these guys are bullies. So this guy pulls up at a Arma Soja wanachungaga supermarket. I don't know what he said. This soldier's just doing his job. Akamwambia, see, you can't pass here, just pass this other side. This guy comes with kiburi and is like, you are an old guy. You're dealing with this young blood who is so hyped, who has too much energy. He's so erratic, he can just hit you. So this guy slapped the shit out of the cop. Wacha! And then, Kofi kaka combo kwanza hivi. Before this guy noticed this guy was a police, Jama alikuwa shatoa. Amwekea kwa kichwa. Ha? Bro, I don't know. I've never been in handcuffs before, but a police has brandished a gun on my face like this one time. And funny enough, I was still in high school when that happened. So, this guy, police, is just rude. Usoja anamwambia pita huko. Wewe polisi unalazimisha unataka kupita huko. After he smacked him, ndio akatoa sasa bunduki, akatoa pingo, akafunga jamaa, akamkalisha chini. And even after kumkalisha chini, okay, I can imagine the frustration ya kupigwa kofi. I mean, I also hate being slapped, but shy slaps. Piga kofi hapo hivyo akamkalisha chini. Na anamwekea bunduki bado kwa kichwa, anamwambia, "Tuwe jambazi." Yeah, all this nonsense this guy said. So I was just looking, I was like, kama tu ungesikia usoja anakuambia pita huko. You know you have a higher jurisdiction over this guy, na bado tu you're still being a bitch. Umse atakwambia pita huko. This guy just has this small authority yenye amepewa kwa hii nini hapa, hii jurisdiction yake ya kuchunga mlango ya supermarket. He's not even inside the supermarket. Ni hapa nje tu. Hapa nje tu. What was the point? I didn't see the point of this police being rude. I feel like they are just using too much force. As much as we can never stop the police from using too much force because they are immune from whatever we try to condemn them. In whatever way we try. The other time you saw the other rogue police who bashed, not really bashed, but he destroyed property. Magari's politicians. He was shooting tear gas into the vehicles and everything. This guy did all that and we never heard if anything has ever been done to him. Everything has ever been done about it. It has never happened. He shot journalists on top of vehicles. Nothing was done to him. This guy was like a fucking hitman. I don't know. Whatever he did. But I just feel like police have been using too much force. It's just too much. I don't know. Okay, I have one police officer who's my friend. Not really my friend, but just some guy we know each other. And I feel like the moment guys transition from being raia to being police, they automatically become enemies with the public. And this comes in only with this regular police who in Tunaga town. The ones in blue uniform. They are the biggest public enemies whatsoever. Especially these two APs who walk around at night arresting people. I remember back in the days, it used to be a crime kutembea usiku. I remember back in the days, you would go clubbing at hapa tower hapa. And they would just stop you and ask you for your ID. For no reason. For no reason. I don't know if Kenya is a stop and identify state. I don't know if it says when a police stops you, they need to identify you. Sijui hizo, I don't know, but it used to happen. Guys used to arrested with your ID. Until today, I would ask you, who carries their ID daily? Mi hata sijui mali ID yangu iko. I think iko hapa chini ya kiti. Sijui mali ID yangu iko. Personally, I cannot lie. But uzuri waliachaga hiyo shenanigans ya kuitisha watu ID when people are walking around town. Anyway, I'm so much done with the police because I feel like when I violate sometimes they just violate. And I said I would speak about bullies. I mean, me have never been bullied before. But I've seen bullying at first hand. And when I'm speaking about this, I'm speaking of guys who feel like they're in authority to manipulate things that we do, to manipulate to manipulate things that we don't have control over. Some things just happen. These bullies are just guys who feel like they're entitled to some of the things that they don't deserve, some things that they don't get. You know what I mean? So Miss J got bullied from way, way, way back, because if I could date back from primary school, I was in primary and my brothers were in the same primary school. So I made friends with their friends. So that kind of protected me in some way. So it went on and on and on and on. I changed school after they left. Not because I was scared of anything, but I went to a better school. So when I went to this better school, it was a primary and high school in the same compound. Same school, primary and secondary. So I met one guy who was my friend. Actually, it was a lady. She was my neighbor. And she was in Form 4. I was in Class 7. And then she linked me with these other guys. So I would go and say hi to her. These other guys would see me. I would chill around them. You know, things used to happen. Things used to go on. And at that time, I used to rap. Lil Wayne was on my fingertips like this. I used to rap like mad rap. My leather so soft, you know, that kind of shit. So these guys used to call me in their class and ask me to rap for them. Bro, I don't know where the confidence came from, but I just used to bar for bar, word for word. And this made me become friends with these guys who I had some in primary, these guys in high school, but we still kick it. So I happened to get this protection again. All through until I finished primary school. Then I went to high school. When I went to high school, I went to a high school that my brother was there, but he left. So his friends knew me because I used to go and visit. And it just became an automatic connection with his friend. They're in Form 4, some in Form 3, and I'm in Form 1. So I automatically got the protection. Mi angaika high school, mi teseka, yani ile ya kukua bullied, sijui kunyang'anywa, sijui nini, hizo sikuona. There are guys who tried to do that, but I was protected. Kafika Form 2. And at that time, I also became a head fan somewhere. I could move some peeps, nini, kitu kayo. And when I felt like this protection was didimiaring, yo wadi mepotea. So when I felt like I was losing this protection, I became vulnerable. Some things started happening and everything. So I left there. Went to another school in Form 3. Form 3, I got there, and I knew guys in Form 4 in that school because I was influenced to go to that school. So I'm still getting the fucking protection. But I could not protect myself from the teachers. This used to be this one teacher. The other day I was asked not to mention names of guys who I want to call out. Especially the ones who did me wrong. And I don't feel like I want to give them credit. By the way, I felt like it made more sense for me not to mention them than to mention them. Because if I would mention them, they would take credit. I don't know. I just feel like it's not advantageous for me to mention them. I'm just giving them credit that they don't deserve. But anyway, I was bullied by teachers. That's one thing I cannot deny. But fellow students, never. So there's this one particular guy that I'm really trying to revolve this story around. It's some guy I've known from high school, and I still know him right now. We used to kick it, but not like that, because when I come to think of it, I feel like all the kicking that we did was kind of influenced by a particular thing that was not really profiting me, but it was at my expense. So this one guy, I don't know how to put him into this picture because he feels like he can manipulate a number of people who relate with what I'm doing. And what I hate about it is the fact that I don't know what the fuck this guy is beefing about. I don't know why it's getting to this extent. It's getting to an extent where I feel like it's more personal than just what we get into. Because it's not supposed to be like that. I thought he's the bigger guy. He needs to take their position and handle this as a grown-up. I'm younger than this motherfucker. But this motherfucker doesn't want to sit on the big guy's seat. He just wants to be a bitch about it. And I thought, for a minute, I could go back and fix. Let me humble down. Go and ask this guy, what's going on? And let's fix it. My mic wants to fuck me up, but not today, Jose. When I thought I could do that, I didn't get the response that I wanted. So I got to this point where I feel like, if this guy really wants to have a problem with me, then let's have the problem and let's not fix it. Because why am I trying to fix a problem that I didn't bring up? Why am I trying to fix something that I didn't really bother to get into? I just found myself in a small argument, not really an argument, but a bitchy conversation that doesn't even want me to fix. You know what I mean? I need to explain myself to a lot of other people about what's happening, and I don't have a fucking idea of what's going on. Yesterday I asked a mutual friend, I asked him, yo, what's going on with your mans? Your mans has been bitching lately. And this guy just tells me, back off, don't get into it, just let it be. Just do your thing, walk away. And that's exactly Kenya nilifanya. Went there, did my thing, though I didn't have as much fun as I wanted to, but you know I can have that kind of fun. You know what I'm saying? So I just let it be. So I've been thinking about it for a minute, because this is now like maybe the fourth or the third week that I'm going through this in my head that made me come and talk about bullies. There are bullies everywhere. For you not to, even to notice them, not for you to understand what they're trying to do to you, bullies are there and bullies are everywhere. They will try and do anything to burn bridges on your behalf. You see, there are some bridges that you need. There's some that you don't need. But the problem is that these bitch bullies try to burn the bridges on your behalf. They try and make you look different. Because right now I look different in the eyes of very many people. Because guys would just see me, if you wouldn't beef with this guy. But fuck no. I want to beef with this guy because I feel like he's so manipulative and he's not going to take this one from me. No matter what happens, I'm fucking serious about this. I'm not going to bitch about it. I'm just going to take the battle head on. Come what may, whatever happens, let's get it, let's go. Why would you burn bridges on my behalf? I need this bridge. I need this to go on. Why would you want to burn a bridge on my behalf? These are guys who would cost you more than what you've done. These are guys who would take away what you deserve, what you've worked for, what you need for no particular reason. It doesn't make sense, bro. It doesn't. It doesn't make no fucking sense. And I particularly feel like it's not fair. Because in what way will you put this whole bullshit and make it make sense for me? In what is it that you would do that would make me feel impressed about what you think you're doing for me? What you think is not tactically advantageous for me? It's not. In whatsoever way. I fucking hate bullies. And I'm gonna say it again. I fucking hate bullies. That's what's up, man. I'm not chickening out. The other day, there was a launch by Mark Zuckerberg. Mark Zuckerberg launched a new app the other day. It's called Thread. And he said this app is going to compete with Twitter. You know, Twitter is big. Twitter's been here for a minute. Twitter's a big shot. KOT is fire. And I would tell you for a fact, there is no country in Africa who would fuck with Kenya on Twitter. That's particularly because Kenyans go hard on Twitter. Kenyans are brutal. They are ruthless on Twitter. When it comes to a point that they need to come together and troll another nation, another movement, they would passionately do it regardless of who they are beefing with. The other day, Kenya started beefing with the States. They started comparing everything. They started comparing Sleepy Joe with Running Ruto. Think about it. Kenyans are so fucking daring. And Zuckerberg wants to bring in Thread. I don't feel like Thread will pick it as much as he thinks, because as per now, I know there is about, up to date from what I've heard, is that there are more than 20 million downloads of Thread. That's a good number. It's not easy to get an app and it gets such kind of download. And I feel like they had an advantage because it's easy to sign up for the app, because if you have Instagram, it automatically connects and syncs your data with Thread. So they have an upper hand. They have a primary app that is propelling this secondary app that they are bringing in. So think about it. Twitter has been more advantageous than any other thing, because one time I didn't have electricity in my house and I had to call out Kenya Power about 3 times for them, and they directly contacted me each time that I called them out. And from Twitter, I had my electricity fixed. Believe it or not, I don't feel like all these other parastatals and corporates are going to join Thread, because it's more of a teeny thing, you know? A teenage, not really teenage, but it's of that age that is not into what corporates are into. The only corporates that I feel like are going to jump into this Thread thing, betting sites, news rooms, this mainstream media, what else? I feel like this credit apps, because guys are taking loans, and fuck no am I talking about loans, because I feel like it's the worst burden that some of us get into. It's the biggest burden you would want to get into. When I got into one, I've been crawling on my knees for a minute. And it's not the best thing that I would ask someone to do. Not for whatever particular reason. If it's not for business, if it's not for something that you're sure it's going to pick and kick off, you don't need to do it. You don't need to. So, anyway, I feel like those are the apps that are going to, not really apps, those are the entities that are going to get into this Thread thing. But I don't feel like Thread is going to really pick up as much. I've been there for a few days. I think this is the 3rd or 2nd day I've been on Thread. And it's not as interesting as Twitter. It's not really engaging, because they've particularly copied the Twitter way, because the algorithm is just the same as what you get on Instagram. I felt like they were going to change something about that. But maybe they wouldn't change the algorithm, because if you have a particular algorithm, it means they know what you are interested in, things that you usually view and like. So maybe they're right about their maintaining their algorithms, but I feel like they needed to have come with something different that made people think like it's more beneficial to have Thread than Twitter. Because I still go back to Twitter to get updates. I still go back to Twitter to see what's trending. They don't have top 10 trending. They don't have all this. If I would do a particular review on this app, they don't have all this. They need to change a lot of things before they say they want to be a big shot app. Get what I mean? Yes, sir. That's all about Thread. I don't have much, but on social media, man, I'm a big fan of social media. And lastly, there's this one particular thing that I wanted to talk about. You see, I had a big idea. At 19, I pitched an idea to the league. So, came Eldoret Basketball League. I pitched an idea for them to make trophies. It was good. But I was not really motivated. I've never spoken about this, so just today I'm going to say something about it. I was not particularly motivated with the prize that they gave me, but I still made the trophies. I made good trophies. Funny thing is that when I get interested into doing something, I really do it regardless of how beneficial it is to me. If it's really interesting, if you know what I mean. I felt like me making trophy would create a big platform for me to grow my products, get to engage with the corporates, get to engage with the other entities that would want to get trophies. I was making pure glass trophies, and they look beautiful. Believe it or not, I made them from scratch till they stood. And at this time, I knew that this was a good thing for the league because it had the league logo, it had names, it had every other thing. You know what I mean? So it was at a point where I viewed a particular growth of the league because we have custom trophies that have names and everything. If these trophies will be put up in offices and these other different places, it would create some kind of curiosities. And I even thought of pitching ideas of bringing in other entities like production companies, like milk production companies, energy drink production companies, and everything, so that they would be in conjunction with us to bring up the name of the league, both the league and whichever entity that came into the league. And regardless of that, I feel like this has been the most successful non-governmental thing because it's not being funded even with a single cent from the government, from the county government or whatsoever. It's purely funded from inside, from within. Let me say within, because each team contributes and they give a particular amount of money so they would participate in the league. The league is picking up. The league is good. The league is great. So I had an idea where we could sit down and talk about the games, talk about players, review players and everything. So it was such a big idea, but I feel like I pitched this idea to the wrong person. You know, when you are pitching ideas to someone or an entity, this entity really needs to understand what's your motive, the idea, the intention, and every other thing that you would want to do with the whole idea thing. I felt like we would create another entertainment showbiz. We would bring up players who would be reviewed by other professional teams in the National League. It would even propel careers of other people because we have scouts all over. We have scouts who want to get players. We have scouts who want to get young players, vibrant players, and all these other guys who can play well. So I felt like this platform would have created a bigger opportunity for people who wanted to get into professional basketball because we would review them. We would review their stats. We would review how they play. We would review their plays because these things, sometimes they are filmed. Sometimes there is a record. There is always a record. And these days, big shout out to Calvary because they have state-of-the-art equipments that give stats, each person's points, each fouls and everything. I mean, it's some NBA type of shit. So we have that. We have a record. If we did all this, we would create a bigger platform for these players who are in a Lord Basketball League. But this idea is still being overlooked. It still feels like the idea is not well pitched, or maybe how good does an idea need to be pitched? It just needs to kick off. If it kicks off, then it picks up and every other adjustment would be made in the future. Because I feel like we can never start from a point where everything is perfect. I never started from a point where everything was perfect. I started from a point I was using an office chair. Right now I have a couch and I can sit and talk. So the thing is, somebody just needs to understand the point of every idea that is pitched. And they should look at the long-term advantage of whatever is being pitched. I mean, there's a big dream out of it. There's a big benefit that really benefit me. I have my own aim of doing all this. I have my own intentions of doing this. I've been doing podcasts since last year. Not like produced podcasts that are out there on media. I've been doing them since last year. But I've been personally doing podcasts on my WhatsApp. Because I created a group and I've been talking to myself, listening to myself, until it got to this point where I felt like I need to put it out there. And now I am doing that. So every idea has a motive. Every idea has a growth extent, provided that it's taken seriously, whatever the cost, whatever the way it's approached, it has a good idea. It has a good intention behind it, if you know what I mean. But anyway, anybody who's going to listen to this, share and forward this to the right person that you think should hear this. Because I feel like you are the right person who should be hearing this. And that's what's up. I wouldn't want to say much. I just want to close it up. Let's wrap this shit up. Let's wrap this shit up. I think I've said particularly everything that I wanted to say. Yeah, you guys can go and check out the episode that I did with Eddie. It was lit. It was fire. As well, you can check out my other episodes that I've done. Most of them are on my Instagram, but henceforth, I'll be posting them on my YouTube. And if you get to view this, leave a comment below. Tell me what you think about what I said. Tell me what you think I should talk about next time. And anything you would want to put up for me to discuss and split. That's what's up. It's Tito. Yeah, this is Tito himself checking out. And it's been lit. It's been fire. This is the Uninterrupted Podcast. That's what's up. Yes, sir. This has been a proud production of Tito himself.